Jenny Marcoux had always dreamed of becoming a journalist, a storyteller who would uncover the truths of the world and share them with anyone willing to listen. Growing up in the small, sleepy town of Maplewood, Missouri, her aspirations often seemed too big for her surroundings. Most of the people in town knew each other, and life moved at a slower pace, but Jenny's mind was constantly racing with the stories she could write, the world she could explore. Her professors at college saw the potential in her, too. She was an excellent student, quick to understand new concepts and often praised for her writing. But there was one thing Jenny struggled with: balance. She was easily distracted, allowing the small things to take her attention away from what mattered most. Sometimes it was a text from her friends, sometimes it was the allure of social media, but often it was the mirror. Jenny had a habit that she tried to hide, one that had been with her for as long as she could remember. She would look at herself in the mirror, sometimes for minutes, sometimes for hours. She would adjust her hair, try on different expressions, or sometimes just stare into her own eyes. It was as if she was looking for something, trying to find herself in the reflection, but all she found was an endless cycle of doubt and insecurity. Her mother, Emily, often scolded her for spending so much time in front of the mirror. "You need to stop looking at yourself so much, Jenny," she would say. "You're beautiful as you are, and you don't need all that makeup. Focus on your studies, not how others see you." But Jenny couldn't help it. The mirror made her feel seen in a way nothing else did. Her friends, Sarah and Claire, often encouraged her to do better, to focus on her goals, and to stop worrying about what others thought. They were supportive, but they didn't always understand the pull that the mirror had on her. Still, their words meant well, and Jenny tried to follow their advice. But every time she felt the weight of her insecurities, she'd reach for her makeup kit, applying layer upon layer of foundation, concealer, and mascara to cover up the parts of herself she wished to hide. It wasn't about enhancing her beauty, it was about masking her vulnerability. Her mother's disapproving looks only made it worse, and Jenny often found herself wondering if her family or friends could ever understand what it was like to feel so exposed, so insecure. One day, Jenny was assigned an essay in one of her journalism classes, write about the most interesting event you've ever experienced. Her professor, Mrs. Harris, had a knack for giving assignments that pushed students out of their comfort zones. For Jenny, it was a challenge. She didn't feel like she had experienced anything truly remarkable, at least, not yet. She was still trying to figure out who she was, let alone find an event worth writing about. That afternoon, as she walked through campus, her mind wandered. She'd been putting off her assignment for days, and now it was the last minute. As she passed by the edge of town, something caught her eye: a dilapidated mansion at the end of a narrow dirt road, hidden behind thick trees and overgrown vines. It was a place she had never noticed before, though she had walked this way countless times. Intrigued, she decided to investigate. The mansion was tall and imposing, with a facade that looked like it hadn't been touched in years. The front door creaked open as she pushed it, the scent of old wood and dust greeting her. Inside, the house seemed abandoned, with furniture covered in white sheets and cobwebs in every corner. But something about it called to her. She wandered through the house, her footsteps echoing in the silence, until she reached a narrow staircase leading up to the top floor. There, at the end of a long hallway, stood a large, ornate mirror. It was enormous, framed in dark wood, its surface so clear that it seemed to shimmer with a strange energy. Jenny approached it cautiously, her reflection staring back at her. But as she looked deeper, something strange happened. The glass began to ripple, as if it were water. Before she could react, the mirror pulled her in, and the world around her spun violently. When the dizziness subsided, Jenny found herself standing in an entirely different place. The mansion was gone, replaced by a vast, foggy landscape stretching out as far as she could see. The air was thick with an eerie stillness. The ground beneath her feet felt soft, like she was walking on clouds. And standing in front of her, as if waiting for her, was an old woman with silver hair, dressed in flowing robes. "You've come," the woman said, her voice soft but firm. "I've been waiting for you, Jenny Marcoux." Jenny blinked, still trying to make sense of what was happening. "Where am I? What is this place?" This, the woman said, is the path of balance. You've been seeking something in your reflection for a long time, haven't you? Searching for answers, searching for who you really are. But the mirror only shows what you want to see. It doesn't show the whole truth. That is what you need to find. Jenny was silent for a moment, absorbing the weight of the words. She had always looked in the mirror, not to understand herself, but to hide the parts she didn't like, to hide the uncertainty that gnawed at her. The path you walk, the old woman continued, is about balance. Balance between the way you see yourself and the way the world sees you. You cannot hide from your own reflection, but you also cannot live only through the eyes of others. To be truly whole, you must find peace within yourself. Jenny felt a wave of realization wash over her. She had been so focused on her insecurities, so consumed by what others thought of her, that she had never taken the time to simply be herself. The mirror had become both her shield and her prison, reflecting only the parts of her she thought were acceptable, while concealing the parts that made her human. "I don't know if I can," Jenny whispered, her voice shaky. The old woman smiled. "The journey won't be easy, but it will be worth it. You don't need to change who you are to fit into someone else's idea of perfection. You simply need to accept yourself, flaws, strengths, insecurities, and all. That is the first step toward balance." Suddenly, the fog around them began to swirl, and Jenny felt herself being pulled back toward the mirror. As she reached out, she heard the old woman's voice one last time. "Remember, Jenny, the path is always with you. It's up to you to walk it." In a flash, Jenny found herself back in the mansion, standing in front of the mirror once again. But this time, she didn't see just her reflection. She saw herself, unfiltered, imperfect, and beautiful in her own way. When she returned to college the next day, Jenny wrote her essay about the experience. She poured her heart into it, telling the story of the mirror, the old woman, and the path of balance. It was the most honest thing she had ever written. And for the first time, she didn't care what anyone thought. She was Jenny Mark Huize, and she was on the path to becoming the journalist she had always dreamed of being.